In 2024, Swerve Strickland did the impossible. He escaped AEW's vaunted Black People box, a bottomless mid-card pit of otherwise talented black wrestlers who are victims of Tony Khan's lack of creativity. There are so many random stables in AEW with black people put together for no reason. One of them was Swerve in Our Glory, but Swerve Strickland broke through and beat Samoa Joe for a transitional title run. Sadly, Swerve is now back in the BPB. The Black People box isn't only an AEW thing. Pro wrestling bookers are typically white billionaires who do not understand black nuance, but Tony Khan and AEW are the biggest offenders in Big 2026. Suddenly, a former top singles star known as the most dangerous man in AEW needs Blackup. After disappearing from television for weeks, Swerve is being shoved right back into the Black People box with rumors of Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods debuting at All In. Similar to Hangman Adam Page, Swerve Strickland is a former world champion who was cut off at the legs and fumbled by Tony Khan in 2026. Now, both find themselves banished to the Trios division. At All In, it's about to be 40 workers on stage in a multi-trios match like a Versus concert. And when Swerve teased that he's bringing 2 partners to come after the Trios titles in Wembley Stadium, Pavlovian AEW fanatics used Sicko Brain to do the racial math. Swerve's black, Kofi's black, Woods is black, they can all be black together! This is a teachable moment of what happens when you confuse representation with storytelling. Putting black people together isn't a story, it's a crutch. How funny would it be if Sicko Brain was exposed and Swerve didn't end up partnering with the New Day? What if it's FTR? What if the Motor City Machine Guns came back from the dead after a one-off appearance on Collision? That'd be hilarious. Today, we're going to talk about AEW's lazy booking of hiding its black talent in random stables amid a black mid-card universe. Because in AEW, with an owner who spent more of his life around bots than blacks, being black is considered a gimmick. Subscribe in Swahili. I have no problem with black unity. I love it when my people come together, especially in wrestling. Full disclosure, and I'm not the first person to say this, but if segregation actually was separate but equal, and we all got the same exact resources as them, that shit would be lit. You're telling me I'd get state-of-the-art black cinema, Black Panther, black athletes, black music, black Twitter, and not one colonizer in sight? I must have died on this YouTube app because this sounds like heaven. Oh, come on, I'm not racist. One of my favorite wrestlers' dogs is white. Black stables in AEW don't feel like black unity. It feels like lazy booking. Every time I see some random black group mobbed up together like The Demand, I feel like Tony Khan approached Ricochet and said, "Trevor, we have 2 other light-skinned fellas on the roster. Do you 3 know each other?" Shane Taylor Promotions are friends of the show, and they predate Tony Khan, but in ROH, they're presented as just a bunch of brothers in a group. They all operate in the same black mid-card universe with no common goal outside of climbing the undercard stepladder. The Hurt Syndicate is easily the most cohesive black stable on the roster. They have a clear common goal. They hurt people, and they want to get paid for it. But the Hurt Syndicate is not a Tony Khan creation. When the Hurt Business was in WWE, it was a main event faction led by WWE champion Bobby Lashley. Tony then culture vultured the group from the Fed and made them worse because now their gimmick is that they don't even want to challenge for championships. Instead, they're just hitmen for hire doing random hit jobs with no upward mobility. Another idea Tony stole from WWE and the APA. Now hidden on Collision, the Hurt Syndicate was forced into a temporary alliance with Lee Moriarty, and guess what color he is? When any stable is put together with a purpose, the people will get invested. This is why the Nation of Domination worked so well and remains one of the most timeless stables in WWE history. The Nation of Domination was led by Ron Farouk Simmons. They were a militant, pro-black stable, and they were heels because not only did they openly hate the whites, they feuded with any black people who were friends to the whites. These brothers were on the USA channel calling Ahmed Johnson a whole Uncle Tom because he palled around with the likes of Shawn Michaels. The Nation of Domination were bound by their skin color, but they weren't just random black wrestlers grouped together. They shared the same belief system about black people taking over pro wrestling by any means necessary. That's why you remember Farouk, D'Lo Brown, Kama Mustafa, Mark Henry, and eventually The Rock. The Nation's philosophy transcended the group to where you could do a Nation of Domination reboot today with all new members and it wouldn't feel out of place given the political climate. All these DX, NWO, and Four Horsemen reboots over the years and no Nation of Domination? A heel Nation of Domination stable would be easy in 2026. Just have them take cues from all these trash-ass, white-winged black commentators like Fresh and Fit, Jason Whitlock, and Officer Tatum. Instead of being militant, they could be apologists. Black voices defending white supremacy is a heel gimmick and a proven concept for engagement. They could go from the Nation of Domination to the Nation on the Plantation. Uncle Ruckus could be their manager. I'm not even saying predominantly black stables need to be militant. That's never going to happen in the oversensitized, politically paralyzed wrestling climate of today. Black stables don't even have to have anything to do with race. Given who's booking AEW, I'd rather they don't even try to tell that story. What if Lethal Twist were bound by their love of video games? What if Shane Taylor Promotions was a take on wrestler unions? Just tell me what these niggas want, what they really, really want. Give me something, anything, to get me to not question why Tony keeps booking random black talent together. Because now, Swerve Strickland and the New Day are heavily rumored to jump into the Black People box at All In, despite their lack of history together. But fuck a stable for a second. Let's talk about what happens when AEW books black people as individuals. Swerve Strickland started out in Swerve in Our Glory alongside Keith Lee. There was little rhyme or reason for this pairing, but it worked. They became tag team champions, then they lost the titles to the Acclaimed, a black hip-hop stable that actually did have a purpose until Tony Khan fumbled them too. But Swerve broke out of the tag team ranks and went on to win the AEW World Heavyweight Championship at Dynasty. Look at God, a black man forging his own path. And this isn't even the exception. It's the rule of what happens when AEW invests in blacks as individuals outside of the Black People box. Kevin Knight has a loose affiliation with the Callis family, aka the Cracker Jack box. But Knight is mostly pushed as a singles wrestler, and it's working. He's the current TNT champion, and he recently main evented AEW Revolution against Kenny Omega. And when you evaluate black female talent who aren't bound to the BPB, the results are even more staggering. Mercedes Moné was a one-woman belt collector in 2025, the year of Ultimo Moné, where she broke the record for most concurrent title reigns with 13. She's now a two-time back-to-back Owen Hart Cup winner and will challenge for the AEW Women's World Championship. Whom will she challenge, you ask? The good sister Willow Nightingale, a fully defined, lovable character whose wholesome smile works in concert with a punk rock aesthetic to create a relatable champion that people want to root for. Mercedes beat Maya World in the Owen Cup Finals, but Maya quickly recovered and is now your current TBS champion. Meanwhile, in ROH, Athena is the forever champion and the longest reigning world champion of the modern era, even longer than Roman Reigns. As much as AEW puts women on the back burner, all of these eclectic personalities main evented the July 15th episode of Dynamite that drew the highest viewership in 2 years for a trios match. You see what happens when AEW invests in talented black people as opposed to segregated groups? Black people are batting 1,000 as individuals. Swerve proved it, Kevin Knight proved it. Every AEW women's singles title right now travels in a check bag with cocoa butter. What they're not traveling in is a black people box. I think the idea of Swerve in the New Day has a lot of potential as a stable, but I'll know the answer to that question after their first promo. Currently, there is zero canon between Swerve and Our New Day outside of them being in WWE together, and they never even crossed paths because Swerve spent most of his WWE career in NXT. One promo can change the perception that Swerve isn't just teaming up with the New Day as a bottomless black gimmick. I need to hear one common goal. Give me a reason. I'd suggest their shared love and respect for Big E. Or fuck it, maybe AEW can just steal from WWE again and reboot a militant black stable because it's been too long. Pro wrestling needs more realistic and nuanced characters because right now, both promotions are resting on their laurels with too many baby faces and as a result, not enough heat. For more on that problem, check out this video.